Pope Francis's week-long visit to the United States both stirred our hearts and challenged our minds. So here are 3 spiritual takeaways from his trip. First, during his trip, Pope Francis reached out to all sorts of people who our society often marginalizes, ignores, or rejects. He spent time with the homeless in Washington, D.C., with immigrant students in Harlem, and prison inmates in Philadelphia. In doing so, he reminds us that there is no one to be discarded or ignored. Moreover, there is no other for the Christian. It's not about us and them, it's all us. Second, in some wonderfully unscripted remarks in Philadelphia, Pope Francis recounted a question a little boy asked him. What was God doing before he created the universe? Dios amaba, said Francis. God was loving. Pope Francis showed us that love not only through his homilies and speeches, but also in the way he touched and kissed children, embraced the sick and infirm, and reached out to everyone he met with love and affection. As Jesus did, Pope Francis taught us love by words and by deeds. Third, in all 3 cities he visited, D.C., New York, and Philly, people said the same thing to me. I can't believe the Pope came here, to my city. I've always thought of the Pope as someone far away. That reaction, very common, reminded me of the Incarnation, when God became human in Jesus. Sometimes people think of God as far away and inaccessible, but God became one of us in Jesus and came into our world. People in first century Palestine also said, I can't believe that God would be so near. I can't believe that God would come right here. The Pope's nearness is a reminder of God's nearness. Now that Pope Francis has left, many of us are also left with some very intense emotions. Maybe you were even moved to tears at some point. So, what do you do now? Well, first, don't be in a hurry to figure out those feelings. Let them sink in and let God help you to understand them over time. Who knows, maybe you're being called to live in a new way. And here's an easy exercise to help you. Remember the time you felt the most moved by Pope Francis. Maybe it was hearing him address Congress and mention Dorothy Day or Thomas Merton. Maybe it was seeing him in the classroom with the kids in Harlem. Or maybe it was embracing the boy with cerebral palsy in Philadelphia. Recall those moments, savor them, then thank God for them. And then, as he asked us to do, pray for Pope Francis.